And welcome back to another episode of Philadelphia Eagles Talk with Geoff and Matt. As we finally, Matt, get to talk about a victory, a resounding 31 to nothing shutout of the Raiders. And yes, I know it's just the Raiders, but I think we could still take some bits and pieces about this game and hope to gain some momentum and some positivity going forward. So that's kind of my opening remarks. Make sure you like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Matt, what are your opening comments here? What are your thoughts about the how the Eagles performed? We know it was the lowly Raiders. We know it was a game that was kind of set up for the Eagles to kind of get things going. But you know what? They did, and they did it in dominant fashion. So what are your opening thoughts?
Well, so the first thing that stands out now for 2 weeks in a row is the defense. So the defense played lights out football. Can you say lights out against the Raiders? Maybe not, because they're just that bad. They are awful. But the defense was all over them. They were all over the Chargers. This is 2 weeks in a row without Jalen Carter, and everybody is clicking on that defense. Funny thing was, the most interesting thing of the game, I thought, that stands out, other than Dallas Goedert dropping a wide open touchdown pass,
Yeah.
was Cooper DeJean's penalty that he got for unsportsmanlike conduct early in the
What
game.
exactly did he do? Did you catch it? I didn't really see him do anything.
So what happened was Tyler Lockett caught the pass, right, or dropped it, whatever, by the sidelines, and he ran right up to Cooper DeJean and got in his face, like this close, like
Yeah.
this close to his face.
And I saw Cooper shove him back. I did see
Yeah,
that.
so Cooper just shoved him back, and that's what he got called for.
That was
So,
it.
yeah, I think Cooper was asking the ref, like, what the hell? Like, he's in my face. Like, what am I supposed to do? But I guess they called him because he extended his arms. If he just tried to walk through him, I guess that would have been fine. So that was like the most interesting thing. But Adoree Jackson's played really good football the last 2 weeks. And, there was only, Reed Blankenship got beat because he fell down on a route. That was like one of the only things that stood out to me. Otherwise, like, this defense was shutting the door on a Raiders offense that moved the ball better with Kenny Pickett than they did with Geno Smith. But overall, on the offensive side of things, okay, the Raiders defense isn't all that either, but they do have to contain Max Crosby, and Crosby was contained. So
Yeah.
they did a great job handling Max Crosby.
I think he only had one sack.
Yeah, and he goes against the right tackle. So Fred Johnson doing a great job holding up against Max Crosby. Good play calling, and the team played 60 minutes. So I was waiting. Once the Eagles got to 17 at the half, I'm like, oh, my score is going to be dead on, because they ain't going to do squat in the second half, and they're going to get a 17-10, 17-7 win eked out over the horrible Raiders, right? And then, to my delight, because I don't care about my predictions, they just kept pouring up points, Goddard would have had an amazing fantasy day if he just caught that third touchdown. But this offense wins games when Goddard is the main focus of the game plan. So I'm like, maybe they've learned their lesson now of, like, stop calling for crap to go your way. Just let Hurts throw the ball where he needs to. Hurts had a good rebound game, and that's good on him. And, other than that, I don't know if it's because of fans like us lighting a fire underneath Hurts's butt, like, not that he watches our show, but, like, local media, like, I'm like, I had enough, you had enough. We're like, bring on Tanner McKee, if this is where we need to do it. And if we need to sit Hurts down, then that's called being accountable. It's not being like a poor Eagles fan, or I only support my team when they, win type thing. I'm like, no, it's accountability. This is Philadelphia. Right. You play like crap, you're going to get booed. And we'll boo you right out of the stadium.
Who you are.
Like
Doesn't
crap.
matter who you are. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's
I could probably think of maybe two players in the history of the Eagles that probably never got booed: Brian Dawkins and Reggie White. Maybe that's probably it.
Yeah.
Or face criticism or whatnot.
Randall Cunningham booed. Donovan
Randall was booed. McNabb, obviously. McNabb was booed on draft day, for Christ's sake. So
T.O. booed. Yeah.
And I think you said it right. Oh, yeah. I think you said it perfectly, and that is that, we're not, we have nothing against Hurts when we're criticizing him. We just know he can play a heck of a lot better. We've seen him do it before, and he's been playing like crap.
Yep.
So, and then he came out in this game, not against a really good team, but He didn't struggle. I mean, at least he didn't, we're not sitting here talking today about how they struggled against the Raiders, where they just barely got by and they still looked like crap. They played really, really well, including Hurts.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we got to see some Tanner McKee, right?
Yeah,
not in a way that I thought we were going to see him, but in a more positive way. And again, he's so accurate with the ball, and he looked the same as we've always seen him. Decisive, throws great balls. I'm glad that they didn't just run it 3 times and punt, which I was afraid they might do. I after a while, I was like, oh, they're advertising Tanner to the Raiders. They're like, this guy could be yours for a number 2, second round draft pick, next year, or a 3rd round that is essentially a 2nd round because the Raiders are so bad. So I think Howie was working some magic there, and just Tanner McKee is a great backup. He's probably better than half of the other starting quarterbacks that are in the league. So cool to see him get some playtime before.
And he looked good playing with the Eagles' backups versus the starting Raiders defense. Raiders still have their guys out there.
Yeah, great game. We'll go through it. I guess we'll break it down further, so I don't want to jump ahead. But
yeah, well, we wanted to talk about Hurts, certainly, so you can keep, if you got more to say about Hurts, we'll start off with him, because obviously he was the focus of our criticism, our last podcast. And yes, we didn't do a pregame podcast for this game because yours truly was under the weather and I didn't have much of a voice, so still kind of not fully back yet, 100%, but that's the reason why we didn't have a pregame on Saturday morning. So, but anyway, Matt, continue on with whatever you want to add, Hurts or anything else.
Again, the best thing about Hurts is his intangibles, right? So he has this ability to rebound like nobody else I've ever seen, and still just stay calm and cool, collected, even to our frustrations and other Eagles fans' frustrations who are wanting to see him just lose it and get some anger going sometimes. But he rebounded well, and it's not like the Raiders are out there trying to lose. They're trying to win, and it's hard to win in the NFL. So he responded and rebounded just like we kind of expect him to. And hopefully he stays there now. It's kind of neat to watch him play. I mean, it's almost like he needs these little downfalls before he really cranks it up into like stellar play mode. So hopefully he's locked in now and will do stellar play throughout the playoff run that we'll have. So good on Hurts, good on Hurts. Seemed to make all the right reads.
Yeah, for sure. And for those of you viewers who are watching, Matt is not experiencing an earthquake. He is using his steady arm to try to keep his camera steady. So I just wanted to point that out for anyone who thinks he's got the shakes over there. Getting back to Hurts, my biggest thing, and I think what you said is, again, right on point, is Hurts is never going to sit there and say anything to the podium that he's ticked off about this or not think he's being unfairly criticized. He'll never say any of that, and he certainly doesn't ever rarely show it. But he did show it in this game a little bit, and I thought when he threw that nice over the middle pass to A.J. Brown, you saw his reaction after that touchdown. He was definitely giving it to, or at least just talking out loud or whatever. He was definitely letting some of it out after that pass, like, you guys want me to pass over middle? I don't know what he was saying, but I think it was something along those lines, like, I could do it, just call the plays or whatever he was saying. But I thought he was definitely barking something and I like to see that emotion out of Hurts because he doesn't show that often.
He's got it in his soul. He's got a fighter's mentality, So good to see it. Good to see it because he's so calm and cool. Yep. You're like, does he even have a pulse? What's going on? But yeah, Hurts great.
Yeah, and like I said, it's just the Raiders. But if it's anything, I mean, other teams got to play the Raiders too. Other teams have that win on their schedules. So why can't the Eagles have a win on their schedule with the Raiders and not be criticized for it or kind of shunned that, oh, you guys just beat the Raiders? Well, not everyone pulverized the Raiders like the Eagles just did. I didn't see them getting blown out every single game. They've been competitive in some games. Yes, they're not good. I'm not trying to say they aren't. They're one of the worst teams in the league. No doubt about it. But they haven't been blown out every week like that. So, that's what we wanted to see the Eagles do. It's a bad team. Good teams beat up on bad teams. That's exactly what the Eagles just did. So, so we'll just take it from there, and hopefully they can get a little more, pep in their step here going forward because they got to finish this season strong. They got 2 divisional battles against the Commanders coming up, who are not a good team either, but, they're going to give us a fight for sure. That's how that team plays. And then you have the Buffalo Bills who just rallied and beat the Patriots. So that's in Buffalo. So that's not going to be an easy game either here to finish out the stretch here.
Yeah, and the offensive play calling, right? So we talked about this a couple weeks ago about wanting to see Tank Bigsby get about 10 touches a game, like minimum. Like no matter what Barkley's doing, like give Tank Bigsby the ball. And so they did, and look what he's able to do with it. He just seems to have some burst with him that maybe Saquon just doesn't quite have. I mean, Saquon can still pop a big run and he doesn't shy away from contact, but he's not like moving piles and plowing through people and like breaking that last tackle to get to the big run this year. Like he has.
What I noticed real quick in this game that Saquon's doing a lot of, and what Bigsby does not do, he hits the hole. He just gets the ball and goes. I see Barkley doing a little bit of, stutter stepping, dancing behind the line before he goes.
Yeah.
Trying to find a hole. I saw him do that quite a bit in this game. And I think that might be interesting. Barkley last year and Barkley this year. Barkley just seems to be trying to find that little hole to break a big play rather than just going like Bigsby just takes the ball and just goes wherever hole he's supposed to go through.
Yes.
So I see a little bit of that. And so Barkley hopefully can watch Bigsby now and say, you know what? I got to stop dancing behind the line of scrimmage and just hit the hole like he's doing,
Yeah. And all of a sudden you'll be 5 yards past the line of scrimmage. So I hope they realize.
Have you noticed that though, Matt, as well, what I just said about Barkley? Have you noticed him doing that too?
Yeah. No, he's kind of running like Le'Veon Bell used to run. Like, I'll just wait for the hole to open. And I'm like, maybe that would have worked last year, but they're not pushing people off the ball like they did.
Yep.
So just hit the hole and go. And it's going to be physical. But if Barkley can't do it, then just take 5 more carries away from Barkley and give him the tank. And just keep running that game. There's one thing that's for sure. The Eagles have to run the ball to win. And they have to run the ball to be able to open up the passing game because every time they get stymied on the run, their pass game just goes in the clunker. So that's going to be important to keep Tank nice and warmed up for the playoffs and give him 10 to 12 carries a game, maybe even 15 at times when they need to. And just let Barkley stay fresh. And, we'll be fine. We'll be fine. So.
I liked what I said. The Eagles got back to some of the things that made them successful last year. Running the ball in this game and also getting Hurts to some design runs too to keep the defense, off guard. And I think if Hurts can incorporate that more in his game going forward, that'll help open the passing game too. And you mentioned Goddard earlier. Just go to Goddard more often. I don't know why he just disappears in certain games, but they don't throw him at all, or they throw him a couple times early in the game and then you disappear the rest of the game. They got to stop doing that. So, and then of course, not to forget about Smitty, who made a nice 40-something yard catch too in the game too.
Yep. Doesn't Goddard always seem like he's open? Like he seems open almost on every play, and even when he's covered, he's got those long arms. Yeah. So if you put the ball where it needs to be, he's going to catch it. But that's pretty much my take on offense.
And you can almost tell the guys that are trying to tackle him, don't look forward to tackling him either. He's tough to bring down.
Yep. And so the offense was clicking on all cylinders. Everybody played a part. The run game, though, still seemed to struggle a bit with Barkley. It really, I feel like if you started Tank Bigsby every game, they'd have over 100 yards every game because he gets 5 or 6, 7 yards per carry. Like he's just a beast going through the middle, and he's I
say that is you'd like to see that almost because he is usually coming in and getting more carries in the second half, and you wonder it's because they're just tired or maybe broken down. The defenses are from tackling Barkley all game. You wonder if that's a factor or not.
Could be. Be interesting to see if he had more carries in the first quarter, because even if he runs like that, defenses are going to get pounded by that. Even if he's getting 2 to 3 yards per carry, it takes a lot. That dude hits the hole hard. But that's pretty much all I got to say for the offense. The defense is starting to play scary football.
Tell you, I think, and I wrote this down, that you mentioned the other key is what you just said too. They need to run the ball offensively to make this offense work. So I definitely think that's just as critical as what I'm about to say. But I wrote down here, the defense is going to carry this team. So however far this Eagles team goes, I think in the playoffs, it's going to be the defense that'll, they're going to go as far as the defense takes them. And I really believe that because this defense is playing top 5 defense right now. They are locking things down in the secondary and getting a pass rush. And they're doing it without Jalen Carter. Now, we know that you almost was wondering if – not that you never say that Carter's holding your defensive line back, but we know because we know know how important Carter is. When a healthy Carter, he's the one that's causing the havoc on the line, that's creating space for others. But
Yeah.
I think he was so dinged up with these two shoulders over the last 3, 4, 5 games that he was not. We saw it on tape. He was not the same Jalen Carter. And I think that even though he's been out, the guys that have stepped in have been, because they're healthier, have been better than Carter playing injured. So that's the whole idea behind, I think, the Eagles deciding and Carter deciding to get these injections he's had in his shoulders to try to get him back to as close to Carter for the playoff run, which I think is a smart move to make. In the meantime, though, these guys are playing their ass offs on the line. Jomo had another sack. Jordan Davis continues to just every single week in and week out. And their ends now are really starting to become a wrecking force. You know, you had Phillips, you had Smith, and what's his name? The other guy there.
Jalen Phillips.
What's that?
Jalen Phillips?
No, I already said Phillips. Phillips Smith and the other guy. Jackson
Hunt.
Jackson Hunt. All three of those guys, and including Brandon Graham playing from the tackle spot, came in and threw a couple sacks in there. So good to see Brandon do that as well. But, man, this line is starting to show some signs of really being able to take over games.
Well, they had 7 sacks against the Chargers. They had like 4 or 5, I thought, against the Raiders, right? With BG getting 2 of them, which is awesome from that defensive tackle spot. And it's so cool. Like, what a cool idea. I'm like, yeah, he may not have the speed to rush around the end anymore, but Brandon Graham can bull rush anybody straight back.
You know, the power.
Yeah, so that's an interesting, and Ojomo just has been getting better and better and better all season long. And Ojomo is exactly who they thought Ojomo was, with giving him more starting time, and he's really stepped up since Carter's been out. So add on top of that, Nakobe Dean, who's just
I love watching Nakobe.
His ball has been amazing.
Dean play, man. He's like old time Eagles football type linebacker now. He's like turning into the I don't want to put him in Seth Joyner's category yet, or like Trotter, the guys who are just forces against the run. But I tell you what, though, he is flying to the ball, and he is. How many times have you seen him tackle for loss, or just when he's on the blitz and he's pulled whoever's in front of him on a blitz? I feel sorry for, because as small as he is, he's trying to run right through you.
Yep, and he hits you a lot of pop. And I wonder if he's the one that's been putting a little bit of a fire underneath Nolan Smith's butt. Like, I'm like, dude, you're twice the size of me, and look what I'm doing. So let's go. Let's bring it. If you're going to bring it, bring it. Otherwise, And so Smith is back to his like offensive tackle cracking, popping, hitting type form. So, the three of them, Hunt played another great game too.
So it's really coming on the last month. Last 3-4 games, he's putting together a really good string of games after a very slow start.
Yep. So Hunt, Phillips, and Smith doing really well in the end. The middle held up while Carter's been out. Jordan Davis has just been all pro this year. The linebackers,
great
between Bond and Dean, they're just rock solid there. And now you talk the secondary, and boy, Sidney Brown. Everyone knows that we always are his biggest fans. We root for him, but Marcus Epps has really solidified the other safety spot.
Yeah, yes, he really has.
With Makuba being out, and he's got more experience than Makuba, so he's probably not going to make any rookie mistakes like Makuba might be prone to.
Yeah, and you wonder why with him back there also with his experience, if he's now, Adoree Jackson's play has really been good. Like you mentioned, that for the last 2-3 weeks, is it just ironic that he's playing as well as he is since Epps has been back there?
Yeah.
Maybe Adoree's not as worried about, having a Brown who's inexperienced or Makuba who's inexperienced back there. He had to kind of like keep a second eye out, that type of thing.
Yep. It's possible.
Makes you wonder, because I tell you what, Adoree Jackson, I'm glad you mentioned it. He's playing really well.
He is. He's playing consistent. He's playing way better than Keely Ringo did in consecutive games. So, which is awesome, right? So thank God, because we needed him to step up, because that spot was quite a weakness early on. But they are cooking. We've got, they're going to sit Jaden Daniels the next. Daniels, by the way, has been ruled out for the rest of the year. They're just not going to play him.
They did say that?
Yeah, that's what in the press conference today, that's what they mentioned. So
that's smart to do. I mean, there's no reason to put him out there. Let him heal up and start over next year.
No, and this team is still dangerous because Mariota has played well with this Commanders football team. Plus, he's got Terry McLaurin fully healthy. Plus, they get the young tight ends on the field now because Ertz is out. So and they run the ball really, really well. So these next 2 games, the Commanders game is going to be tough. It's not going to be a cakewalk. And so this defense, we're going to need them. We're going to need them
Right.
to step up and keep sacking and keep playing the way that they've been. Because just as you said, not only in the playoffs, the defense is going to carry us to victory over these next 3 games, which we only need to win 2 of to make sure that we got the NFC East wrapped up.
Actually, it's just 1 now because with the Dallas loss.
Oh, just 1. Okay, yeah. So Dallas loses. We just need to win 1 game, and then we've got the NFC East tied up. I'm not sure where we fall with other tiebreakers. I'm sure we'll do a show in another week or so.
I think right now they'd be the 3rd seed.
3rd seed because Chicago's 1, Rams number 2, Eagles number 3.
Oh, the Rams are number 1 now, I think.
The Bears.
Bears won, but I think the Rams have got 1 more win than the Bears, I think. Want to say. I could be wrong with that. Let me check real quick. Go ahead. Keep your train of thought. I'll look it up.
Yeah. This will be interesting. I thought the Bears still had number 1 and Rams.
You might be right. Let me double check.
But the defense will carry this team. They just got to keep playing. And if they don't need Carter, if Carter needs a couple more weeks of rest, let him rest. Like, let him get fully healthy for the playoffs because we apparently are doing fine without him. So let's get him as healthy as possible. Even if he became a healthy stretch, no problem. Lane Johnson might be back next week, which would be nice to get him to knock off some rust before we enter the playoffs.
Don't you think they should give him as many weeks as he needs to, though? That Liz Frank kind of foot injury could be kind of tricky. Like I almost applied the same thing you just said about Carter to Lane Johnson. He's a veteran. I don't know if he'd really need to shake much rust off. You know what I mean? Yep. Just give him the extra weeks if he needs them. I don't know, just my 2 cents.
No, Fred Johnson does fine. The pass rush of the Commanders isn't what it was last year. Their defense is kind of hit or miss depending on what games they show up in.
Right.
But they played well enough to beat the Giants and Dallas.
Yeah, so
Dallas,
the Rams and Seahawks. Matt, the Rams and Seahawks are both 11-3, and the Bears are 10-4.
Really?
Yeah, so the Rams have the number 1 seed. The Bears would get the number 2 because they're the division leader. Eagles would have the number 3 seed, and the Seahawks right now would be the 4 seed with an 11-3 record. So that's why I think they play next week, right? Or they play Thursday night. I think Rams and Seahawks are Thursday night. So that game is for the division.
Awesome Thursday night game. Yeah. So one of them goes way down in the seeding. Like whoever loses that game,
is drop from 1 to 4.
Yeah, going to fall far because they become the top wild card, right?
Correct.
I'll tell you what, the Rams are still, even if the Rams lose to the Seahawks, I still think they're the strongest team.
Rams are damn good.
There's something about Sam Darnold, quarterback,
I agree,
that makes me think there's a mistake or 2 waiting on that field in the playoffs for a bad throw or an interception return for a touchdown. So,
yeah, he's got to prove it. I mean, I like Sam, and I think he's had another great year. I mean, think about how Minnesota must be kicking themselves in the ass for letting him go, even though McCarthy has shown some signs here or there. But they got to be like, what? Why did we let Donald go? Because Minnesota's not a bad team. Again, they just beat the Cowboys.
McCarthy hasn't played nearly the amount of games that all these other rookie quarterbacks have, like Drake May, Caleb Williams. He's been hurt, but last night's game he stepped up and he played well, played very well. So, maybe he's starting to finally play well, and good for the Vikings on that. They've had a rough season, but I don't know. They're the Packers are falling. I still think that the Rams are the only team that concerns me for this Eagles team. That's it, just the Rams.
I agree. I think they're the strongest team. I don't have any. I think the Eagles could go to Chicago and beat the Bears. They'd have to play well because Caleb's playing really well. I looked at Caleb's stats this year. He's got better stats than I thought. He's got like 25 or 26 touchdowns and only like 5 picks. 5 or 6 picks maybe. He's had a better year than I thought. I mean, So Caleb's got things going there, but I don't think the Eagles will be intimidated by having to travel to Chicago and play the Bears. I think the Eagles could win that game. Rams, I do agree with you 100%. I think that's the toughest obstacle in the Eagles' way right now. As long as the Eagles keep playing the way they're playing. I mean, if they start playing like crap again, they could be beaten by anybody. But if they start showing some signs here as the end stretch and finish the season strong, I think the Eagles will be a tough out for whoever they need to potentially go on the road. They're going to have a home game for the first round of the playoffs. They will be playing, but it could be Seattle. Think about that. Can you imagine that? That'd be a tough, wild card weekend game.
Yeah.
If it's Seattle coming.
And I would rather play Seattle
because, again,
yeah. Either way, they might
definitely want to play them in Philly. That's for sure.
Yeah. So, but
yeah,
the Rams and Rams and Seahawks, they're going to lose one game, right? One of those teams is going to lose a game. And if the Eagles have a 3-game stretch where they can win all 3, including the Bills and 2 Commanders games, then who knows? Maybe we do have some room to slide up into the top seed again. It all depends.
They could finish with 12 wins. That's the most they can get. That's beating the Bills and winning the 2 games versus Commanders. Eagles would finish at 12-5. So more than likely the Rams or Seattle potentially might still be over 12 wins. But that would be it. The Bears need 2 more wins to get to 12-5 or to get 12 wins. And they've got a tough schedule. The the Bears, I saw their schedule. They got some tough games.
Yeah, Bears have the hardest remaining.
They have 3 really tough games to go. So they got a tough stretch, the Bears do.
Yeah, so we'll see. I don't know. Do you want to get to any player grades or?
No, I mean, for this game, I don't want to spend a lot of time on grades. I mean, basically the whole defense gets an A. I think we talked about the 3 guys that were kind of key with the Eagles offense in terms of grades, between Hurts. Definitely got an A for that game. The wide receivers played well. Goddard, obviously, an A. And I thought we know that the line played really well. So unless there's anyone you want to point out in particular.
No. Just maybe throw some we were talking during the week about how awesome of the season Quinyon Mitchell's had, and he's so good that we don't often mention his name because he's not making flash plays, he's not returning picks for 6 points, but nobody can score on him. So he's been quietly amazing.
He doesn't have an interception this season, but he's one of the best, if not the best, cornerback in the entire NFL.
Yep.
And the statistics prove that out. Other than the interceptions, he hasn't given up a touchdown. He's the only starting corner that hasn't given a touchdown all season.
Yeah. So he's been awesome, and he's played his fair share of excellent wide receivers. So
he's matched up on basically the number 1 guy every week.
Yeah,
and really good wide receivers. Like to your point, Matt, the receivers schedule this year for the Eagles. I mean, twice against CeeDee Lamb and either him or Pickens, right? You have he's got Commanders, got McLaren coming up twice.
Brown.
I'm on St. Brown. Countless guys.
Pickens, Lamb. He's got a ton. Puka Nacua. All
Nacua. Yeah, or with the other guy there,
Devontae Adams.
And
who I see. So he tweaked his hamstring pretty severely as well, and I think that news got kind of buried underneath the other big time injury news yesterday.
Well, they may be down on Thursday night. He might not be available Thursday night with a quick turnaround.
I think Adams is going to miss that game because he pulled up and fell down with that hamstring. So we'll see how that.
But the Rams got a lot of offensive weapons too. I mean, they could turn to some, including 2 running backs. They not only have Williams, but that guy Quorum is a pretty good backup running back there. Anyway, getting back to the Bears, I looked it up. Their last 3 games. Think about this: Packers this week, 49ers in San Fran, and then the Lions. That's the Bears' last 3 games.
And all 3 of those teams are fighting hard to stay in the playoffs.
Yeah, and good teams, yeah.
Yep.
So quickly on Dallas, they had the door opened again with the Eagles' 3-game losing streak, and they couldn't. At home they got Minnesota with McCarthy, rookie quarterback, not many starts, and they couldn't win that game. So it's the story of the Cowboys, and they had another chance. The Eagles have, left that door open for them to make a run, but every time the Eagles have done it, Dallas continues to just not be able to go through it. So, which is obviously to our delight. So, the magic number is 1. So the Eagles, either a Cowboy loss, Eagles win. Division is the Eagles for the first time in, something like 20-something years where there's been a repeat champion in the division, which the last time there was a repeat champion, it was also the Eagles. So, all right. So we will be back later this week, maybe Wednesday night. Well, we're going to look to see if we can get our friend of the show, Johnny, the Commanders fan, to join us. He's waited a long time this season because the NFL put both of these games way at the end of the schedule, and it's been a rough year for Washington. I didn't realize that they had lost 8 straight games before they just beat the Giants.
Yeah, they were in a tough.
I didn't realize that.
Tough stretch. They the game before the Giants, Mariota played so well in that last game that they lost. I can't remember who that was against. It was the Falcons, maybe. And just it was like, oh man, that team was playing well. Like they're not going to fold over. This team's going to play with pride. So 2 games with them that are not going to be easy. No game in the NFC East is easy. We lost to the Giants earlier this season, so the Eagles team better know what's at stake and be ready to play. And if we can beat up on bad teams, let's go beat up on bad teams. Let's make sure we score 30-something points.
Yeah, I mean, the Eagles played all their tough games most of the season. This is actually what we saw was maybe the easier part of the schedule outside of the Commanders. We're expecting them to be pretty good again this year, even though we did kind of predict they would take a step back a little bit. We didn't think they'd take this big of a step back, but they obviously had some major injuries. So we'll be back in a couple of days to talk about that game. And in the meantime, make sure you like and subscribe. Matt, any final thoughts?
Enjoy the win. Everybody, as Rich Eisen has been saying on his podcast for weeks, he's like, Eagles fans,
relax.
Stay calm. Relax. Yeah. You're fine. Everything's fine. You're fine. You're 14 games now away from having won the Super Bowl. And you look at the Chiefs, you look at these other teams that had high expectations, like the Ravens, all that. I'm like, we're in better shape than them. So better shape than the Lions.
Really are. There's been 2 more huge injuries in the league. The Chiefs were basically going to be eliminated anyway, but now Mahomes, it really is not really so much about the impact for this season, but with these late injuries, the impact on their teams for next season. Now, if he's got a really, really good recovery and, good surgery and all that goes smoothly, it's a chance that Mahomes may be back, maybe if everything goes perfectly for the start of next season, but you got to expect him to miss maybe the first month of next year. And same with Micah Parsons now, who obviously is going to impact Green Bay's chances in the playoffs this year and going into next season, because that's obviously a huge, huge loss for him. Mm-hmm. Both with confirmed ACL tears. So, yeah, to your point, the Eagles, knock on wood, have been relatively healthy when you kind of look around the league and see some of the other injuries. Eagles have definitely had some injuries, but fortunately nothing, quote unquote, season ending other than Makuba. But Epps has really kind of helped us out there. So, all right. So with that, Matt and I will see you back in a couple of days. We'll talk about the Commanders game and hopefully have Johnny on to give us his perspective on the Commanders season. I'm sure he's going to be anxiously can't wait to talk about that. But either way, it's always good to have Johnny on. So hopefully we'll be able to join us. If not this week, then for the next Commanders game, which will be in a couple weeks, and the Bills are in between. So with that being said, as always, fly, Eagles, fly. Matt, you can take us out.
Go Birds.
See you later.